All right, welcome back everybody to Altcoin Daily. My name's Austin, and CNBC did probably the most bullish segment that I've ever seen CNBC do regarding Bitcoin. Did you catch it? Who caught it? It happened yesterday. In this segment, CNBC correspondent, contributor, Bitcoin aficionado Brian Kelly was brought on to explain to the panel, number one, why after 13 months, 14, 15 months of watching the Bitcoin price tank, why for the first time in a long time are we seeing some life out of Bitcoin? What caused it? Number two, why now that Bitcoin is seemingly leveling off at 8K, where can we expect Bitcoin to go in the future? That's number two. And number three, CNBC correspondent Brian Kelly, he turned to the camera. I'll play this for you in a second. He turned to the camera, he looked at his audience, and then he told his audience, now is the time to buy Bitcoin. Let's watch it. And by the way, we have 4 big news stories to go over today. Things you need to know if you're invested in the space. So to get the most value out of today's video, make sure you watch the whole thing. Watch it till the very end. That being said, let's watch this clip where first, Brian Kelly addresses why we finally see some life, why we finally have seen some life out of Bitcoin. What's the reason?
Hey, Brian.
Well, there's a couple things going on. So let's break down what the market has been anticipating. First of all, you're starting to get that long waited for institutional adoption. Fidelity is rolling out institutional custody. They're getting customers. People are starting to buy institutions. Retail anticipation. We saw from TD Ameritrade. They invested in RSX. They're going to start opening crypto trading, Bitcoin trading to their retail customers over the coming months, perhaps 3 to 6 months or so. People are anticipating that. But the big picture here is...
Did you catch that? Who caught what he said? He said that one of the reasons that we're seeing this influx of interest into Bitcoin is because the demand is there. The institutional demand is there. Because what's changed this year that we didn't have last year? Fidelity offering Bitcoin custody and Bitcoin trading to its institutional clients. TD Ameritrade's recent investment into RSX, suggesting that TD Ameritrade will offer Bitcoin trading to its retail clientele. Heavy anticipation for this in its coming months. And that's new. That's changed. That's what's changed for Bitcoin in these last 6 to 12 months. That's one of the reasons. And while the institutional demand has increased, what else is happening? The supply is about to decrease.
We're starting to enter this cycle where you get a supply cut. Every 4 years, the supply of Bitcoin gets cut in half. You generally have a rally a year into it and a year out of it. And so we're just at the beginning of that stage. So you've got this combination of a lot of demand coming in, and we're heading into a period where we're going to have supply cut, and that's generally very bullish for it.
And Brian Kelly, he backs it up. He shows historically what has happened traditionally every time we have a halving. And you know what? That's not to say that we shouldn't expect, I still expect a 30, maybe 40% correction in the price. We've rallied over 100. I think any significant correction could be healthy. I'm not saying that we're going to get one. I'm not saying that I want one. I'm just saying that I expect one. And if it never happens, well, that's even better. That's perfect. Then our portfolios are only going to go up. I just want you to be prepared. Because really, all we need is higher lows into higher highs. And that's still a bull market. But either way, Brian Kelly finishes this segment by looking in the camera, addressing his audience, and releasing the Bitcoin bulls. Watch this.
The one last thing I would add, just as a PSA, while we're down at these levels, please size this appropriately. It's a risky thing, 1 to 5% of your portfolio, and when it goes higher and you buy it at the top, don't tell BK that I bought too much. Buy it here.
That's called that. Is it called the halvening also?
It's called the halvening.
All right. Has anybody ever seen that before? Have we ever seen this before? Have we ever seen CNBC tell us that it would be smart to allocate between 1 and 5% of our portfolio with Bitcoin? Now, to be fair, Brian Kelly, CNBC, they were also the ones encouraging their audience to invest in Ripple, to invest in XRP a year and a half ago when XRP was peaking at its all-time highs. Did do that. But either way, I'm going to like this. I'm going to support this. I'd be interested to hear what you think down below in the comments, if you're feeling it. If you could, leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think. And if you've gotten any value thus far from this video, give it a like. It really would just help me grow the channel. But let's keep moving. I have 3 significant news stories for you. Let's jump in. The IRS, this is new. The IRS tells Congress it will soon publish a new digital asset tax guidance for the first time since 2014. I tweeted this yesterday. I'm really surprised more people aren't talking about this. In a letter dated May 16, 2019, the IRS Commissioner Charles P. Rettig corresponded to a request from Representative Thomas Emure by claiming that the IRS will soon publish declaratory tax guidelines for virtual currencies. The letter acknowledged continued development since the last time tax guidance was issued by the IRS way back in 2014. This is what happened. On April 11, 2019, Representative Thomas Emure sent a letter to IRS Commissioner Rettig asking for new tax guidance concerning digital assets. So this all stemmed from a request. These reps are working for us. The letter explained that despite the tax guidance issued by the IRS back in 2014, and this is a quote, there is still substantial ambiguity on a number of important questions about the federal taxation of virtual currencies. Substantial ambiguity. And this request was not only signed by one representative, it was signed by Emure and 20 additional members of Congress asking for a change. In a formal letter, Rettig, so this was the letter the IRS sent back. In a formal letter, Rettig acknowledged that since the last digital asset guidance was issued in 2014, digital assets have evolved. As noted in your letter, the past 2014 regulations, which stated that virtual currency is treated as property, and existing tax principles applicable to property transactions apply to all virtual currency transactions, which is the problem. But since that time, and this is a direct quote from the IRS, since that time, virtual currency as a medium of exchange and investment have continued to develop. He's acknowledging a change, and while we don't have specifics yet, Rettig continued by describing the scope of future guidance. I share your belief that taxpayers deserve clarity on basic issues related to the taxation of virtual currency transactions, and I have made it a priority of the IRS to issue guidance. Specifically, your letter mentions 1. Acceptable methods for calculating cost basis. Number 2. Acceptable methods of cost basis assignment. And number 3. Tax treatment of forks. Now, I'm not positive what those first 2 mean, but tax treatment of forks is definitely something that could be improved. After all, if Bitcoin forks, you shouldn't have to pay for every fork that winds up in your wallet or on the exchange. That could be an improvement. And it doesn't specifically say anywhere in here that cryptocurrencies won't be taxed, but I'll keep you updated. The IRS is acknowledging in this letter that things have changed since 2014, and not all cryptocurrency should be treated as property anymore. This is a small step, but it could lead to a big step. The minute we get new information on this, I'll put out a video. I'll keep you updated. Next piece of news. This is outrageous. Tether admits in court to investing some of its reserves into Bitcoin. Let me rephrase that. Bitcoin is backed by Tether, which is backed by Bitcoin. Let me give you the highlights. In a court transcript obtained exclusively by the block, Tether admits that it invested some of its reserves into Bitcoin. David Miller, an attorney for Bitfinex, said, this is a quote, Tether actually did invest in instruments beyond cash and cash equivalents, including Bitcoin. So we have a stablecoin that's backed by a highly volatile cryptocurrency. Outrageous. New York Supreme Court Judge Joel M. Cohen questioned the logic. So this guy's the judge that's judging over this case. He's not a fool. He asked the same questions that I'm asking. He said, Tether sounded to me like some sort of calm in the storm of cryptocurrency trading. And so, if Tether is backed by Bitcoin, how is that consistent? If some of your assets are in a volatile currency that Tether is supposed to somehow modulate, how would that work? I couldn't agree more. I want to give the Block Crypto big ups for finding this information and uncovering these transcripts. And this is probably just the tip of the iceberg. Hey, maybe we'll get a sequel. The Big Tether. I'd watch it. Last piece of news, Central Bank of Laos issues a warning against using cryptocurrency. So this just goes to show you how early we are. Not everybody's on board with crypto yet. The Central Bank of Laos has warned the public against the use, purchase, or sale of digital currencies, local news outlet Venetian Times reported on May 21st. The Bank of the Lao PDR has issued a warning to financial market participants and to the public against cryptocurrency transactions as they are considered illegal in the country. The bank previously banned financial institutions from conducting operations with cryptocurrency, as well as making investments in such assets. Wow, they're scared. The Central Bank of Laos is terrified. The bank is purportedly concerned about the anonymity. So this is their problem with cryptocurrency. The bank is concerned about the anonymity of the sender and the receiver in a cryptocurrency transactions, which it worries increases the risk of digital assets use in money laundering. Hey, Bitcoin's for the criminals, for the smugglers, right? I mean, only criminals get involved with Bitcoin. Oh wait, Fidelity, TD Ameritrade, Samsung, CNBC. Getting a little feisty. Anyways, that's the video for today. My name's Austin. Appreciate you tuning in. I'll see you tomorrow.